It's as big as a football field. It's heavier than 200 elephants. It is safe to say you would not want the International Space Station falling on your head. So how do you get it out of orbit safely and land it back on Earth? Elon Musk's company SpaceX has been tasked with finding that solution. The California-based company will now build a vehicle capable of pushing the space station into orbit and into a remote part of the Pacific Ocean in the next decade. The splashdown target is there. It's called Point Nemo. It's named after the famous submarine sailor from Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's become a space graveyard 2,500 kilometres from the nearest piece of land. And when the space station does splash down, it will join hundreds of other spacecraft at the bottom of the ocean. Who better to talk to tonight than the man who commanded the space station, our good friend and astronaut Leroy Chiao, who lived aboard it for 6 months until April 2005. Always good to see you, Leroy. We've never done anything like this before. It's big, it's unwieldy. Why push it this way back to Earth rather than push it the other way into outer space?
Well, the bottom line is it would take a lot less energy to slow it down so that it gets captured by the atmosphere, and then the drag brings it down. And the way you want to do it, of course, is in a controlled manner like this. So you plan to attach basically a big rocket engine or series of rocket engines and a fuel tank, and you slowly push against the space station to slow it down until it can be captured by the atmosphere. You plan that trajectory so it does come down in that space graveyard vicinity. The last time we had a large object come down, it was the Mir space station. The Russians used one of their Progress resupply ship tugs to do just exactly that, to slow it down and try to plan it to go in a place you want it to go, and that worked out. Of course, there is uncertainty, but I would suspect with something like this, SpaceX certainly has the ability to do it, and I think they'll be able to do it well.
Why are we getting rid of it, Leroy? I mean, is it becoming more dangerous? Is it the stresses of space? Do they take their toll on a space station eventually?
Well, everything gets, runs its course, and the space station was designed to have that 30-year life. And so 2030 was, for many, many years now, it's been kind of the plan that it will be decommissioned around 2030. Some of the parts are showing age, particularly on the Russian segment. We've had some cracks and some leaks that have been patched with epoxy and other materials. But generally speaking, it's, 2030 is going to be about 30 years of service life. And, that's really what it was planned for. The Russian partners are indicating they might want to pull out a little earlier. They threw 2028 out there. So everybody's kind of comfortable with, kind of in that 2030 time frame. And, it's good to start planning for it now in case it needs to be moved up for political reasons.
We were just discussing in the office earlier why they're not. I mean, we took it up piece by piece. So why are we not bringing it down piece by piece so that people can enjoy it and see it rather than sticking it at the bottom of the ocean?
Sure. And, in the very beginning of the program, one of the questions that was discussed was exactly this. What are we going to do with it at end of life? We can't just let it kind of tumble out of orbit and see where it goes. We've got a budget for bringing it down in a controlled manner. Does it make more sense to take it apart like we put it together? The problem is, one of the big problems is we don't have space shuttle anymore, so we can't really bring the pieces back down that way. Also, it's the expense. Even if we did still have space shuttle, the money that we would spend to bring the pieces down would be a lot more than disposing of the whole thing. So unfortunately, we get budgeted. I guess this is the way it works. We get budgeted to build a vehicle. We don't really get budget to take it apart. Even when it was designed, there was no money to decommission it. And so now, fortunately, there is a budget for that, and we're beginning to study it early enough and design for it early enough that we can responsibly get it done.
Just quickly before the break, Leroy, will we need another, or have we learnt enough now from our lower Earth orbit that really the focus is the Moon, Mars, bases on other worlds?
Oh, no, space station is very much a part of the exploration program, and it serves not only as an engineering test bed and a training ground for astronauts for engineering studies on things like long-duration life support systems, which is surprisingly difficult to do, but also it serves as a biomedical, test bed because there are a lot of bad biomedical things that happen to people when they go into space for a long duration, and we have to work out these countermeasures and develop and test them before we can confidently send humans to, say, Mars for a long duration mission, right? So that the space station has been playing that role very much as well. The plan is NASA has already seeded some small commercial companies to begin developing their own private commercial space stations. And the idea would be that by the time it's time to decommission the ISS, there would be one or more commercial stations that we could send astronauts to continue this kind of work.
Fascinating. Leroy, we're always grateful for your expertise. Thank you for coming on the program. We're going to take a short break. The